Okay, so the recording is.
Okay, got it. All
Yep.
right.
So a very good evening from the UK. This is the Woman Agenda channel, live on YouTube, and we do share it on Facebook and Twitter as well. We have a special guest today who's very, very talented. Her name is Kristine Grant, and as you can see on her background, which I really like, which I don't really like as well, it's KristinaGrant.com. It says who has done loads of stuff in music now, in writing, relationship expert, and giving her advice and all the stuff. And how are you today?
Hi, Raju. Nice to be here. And yeah, so I am a word person, and words carry frequency. I don't know if you'd agree, but they really do, whether it's in a conversation. Specialty is in written form. So I actually have been composing love letters for clients for nearly 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a long time. Yeah.
It's a long time. I'm a pro. And and the thing is it's very intuitive. So when I compose someone's letter, and it can be for any relationship matter, even if it's the true, here we are up against Valentine's Day. I just want to express my deep and sincere love and respect and honor of you, that type of letter. Or if there is any kind of conflict or challenge in the relationship, then I have a way of helping people to really clear the air with that. So when I compose someone else's letter, sort of like a Cyrano de Bergerac, female version, it's actually, I tap into someone's soul, their higher heart.
Right.
And bypass what gets in all of our ways normally, which is our ego.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure a lot of the, and I've seen that obviously you've appeared in various channels, had loads of interviews with various people. So you've been really busy regarding that, and obviously, and I'm sure the people who will view the interview will find it very useful, and the advice which you're giving, because this is one thing which a lot of people do need, that advice. And obviously the women agenda is about women and promoting women talent, and in different areas, and obviously and doing women and programming. So I'm sure there will be a lot of women who will find this very useful, the advice you're going to give. So is that how you went into, because I've seen, like you said, you have a different name which you use, Tina, in music, and
Tina Rose.
Tina Rose in music.
My middle name is Rose.
Yes. And the website's really good. And I was checking the website out today, and obviously then you have the other website, which you have on there, KristinaGrant.com, which you tell about the relationship expert, and about the book and stuff. So first of all, how did you get into writing?
Okay, so it started many years ago. As I said, I've been doing this for nearly 18 years. And I spent a long time as a marriage and family therapist. And I was also a school psychologist. I've worked with children and families as well. And so at one point I had a neighbor, and she just came over one day and asked my advice. She was dating this man, and she really enjoyed the time they spent together. In her words, he checks off on all the boxes. He's a good guy, and he's kind, and he's generous. He had just sent her flowers the day she came over, but she didn't feel that chemistry. And she was so disappointed, because she thought, wow, he's a great guy. He's a good quote catch. And she was really looking for a long-term committed partnership. She was divorced, and her kids, I think her youngest was still in high school and the others in college. So she was ready to, she was kind of lonely and she really wanted to have that type of partnership. And but she
Yeah.
just didn't feel like expressing herself in that way, or connecting, I should say, in that romantic way with him. But she wanted to stay friends. Happened to be an attorney. And so I said, well, you can't lead anyone down a primrose path. That's so wrong. You need to be honest with him. He's a big boy. And it doesn't mean that you're going to hurt his feelings. She goes, well, that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid I'm going to hurt his feelings and that I will feel so embarrassed. And she goes, I don't do well when I'm in confrontations like that. It's really hard on me. So I said, okay, well, if that's true, then why don't you just write him a little note, put it in a blank, pretty card. And the next time you see him,
Yeah.
just simply say, I just want you to read this. I wrote this for you because you've been on my mind. And I really want to, much I've enjoyed meeting you and where I see us at, or something like that. And she thought that was a great idea. And what the note that she wrote was not true, though. She came over a few days later and it was the old, it's about me, not you routine. I don't really want to be in a relationship. I suck at relationships. I don't have time for a relationship, blah, blah, blah. And so I quickly tore up her note and I rewrote what I felt was a good way to share the truth, not about making an excuse, but the truth. The truth sets us free, right? And so she loved
Yeah.
what I wrote. She gave it to him and it worked out beautifully. To my knowledge, they're still friends. I think about 8 years later, he ended up getting married to a lovely, gorgeous woman. And she was so thrilled. She even had a legal matter arise at one point, and he took care of it free of charge. So
Wow.
so she's like, wow. So she started asking me for more letters for other scenarios, other situations. And I was very happy to do that. Then she started referring me to friends, and they've started referring me, and they started referring me. And the next thing, I was getting calls from all over, people asking me to help them to, as I put it, and you can see the title of the book, find the right words that you really want to say. And, so when we're in a conflict or we have a matter we're not sure, um, we know what the outcome we would like to achieve, but we're not sure how to get from point A to point B, and communicating that is not going to be hurtful or unkind or even needy. That's not, we want to have an empowered. Women set the tone for their relationships. They really do. And women are the ones that kind of alert the man into what the boundaries are, what makes them happy, if you want to progress along and have a healthy relationship. So it doesn't mean you're going to be a shrew or anything like that. It's that you really let them know what men want to know, I believe, and you could confirm this. They want to know what their woman wants. They want to make them happy. Am I right? Healthy guys. Yeah. So so that's the thing. So the type of letters that I write just really they bridge so many scenarios or matters of the heart. I mean, people that have had falling outs with friends or family members. And I think at this time on the planet, we're seeing that come up. A lot of hurt feelings, a lot of loneliness. And so my gift, and I feel like I am a channel, it comes through me. So passionate to help people. And I have my book, as you can see there, that is endorsed by amazing luminaries in the relationship field, John Gray, Catherine Woodward Thomas, Ariel Ford, Dr. Christiane Northrup. And it's really it's a showcase of the various lanes that I work with in helping people to resolve their relationship concerns. And so
Yeah.
there's actual letters and, you know, the predicament, and then the letter is sort of the medicine. And then after the letter is received, the outcome is what is learned, what is grasped from it. And by and large, my clients almost always tell me that once I help them to find those words, it feels like a huge weight is lifted off their shoulders.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, definitely. So is it like so as a relationship expert, and obviously you are an expert, you've done it for such a long time, like you said, uh, on the. Is this the main thing which you do on a day-to-day basis?
I'm sorry, is what a main thing to do on a day-to-day?
You know, the consultations, the giving the relationship advice. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this is my passion. So I retired from the clinical aspect of being a therapist and all that. So of course, I draw upon that experience in human development psychology and whatnot. But I found the box. I mean, you would agree, you know, people don't always know that there's someone like me out there that can help them in this way.
Yeah.
What brings me the most joy is the miracles that happen. I mean, one woman had abandoned her 3 children in her marriage. I think the oldest child was around 9 or 10, and she didn't see her children for 16 years. Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, and so on the surface, you go, how could a mother do that? And
Yeah.
her husband, who happened to have been a physician, he did finally meet another woman and got married, but was told perhaps not the ideal stepmother either. So the children, who by the time she reunited with them, they were grown, and it was it was something that preyed on her heart. There was so much shame, and you know, on the emotional meter, the shame and regret emotions are way down. So I was able to help her write letters to her sons, and everyone has a backstory.
Yeah.
What's presented to you in a relationship is not always the entire truth. In this woman's case, it turned out that she had been sexually abused by her father, who was a 3-star general in the military since she was a little girl. And she was the oldest of the kids. And so she knew that her mother knew. And her mother
Right.
never came to defend her or anything. And her mother that well. So there was some passive aggression on the mom's part. So when she had her own family, she had never, you know, really dealt with the skeletons in the closet, this emotional drain and her anxiety and the memories. And so she, with the responsibility of being a parent, she became very overwhelmed. And that's when she left. So you can't imagine what it was like to have her sons embrace her again. It makes me want to cry when I talk about it because it was so emotional. And
Yeah.
she now, if she had not expressed what was true for her to her children, or have reunited with them and started to heal the wounds. Later on, her mother passed away. Her dad had already passed when she contacted me originally. And being the oldest, and even in the letters, she never divulged the quote sin of the grandfather, so to speak. And she had to speak and give a eulogy at her mother's funeral. And
Right.
so and so I helped her to do that. And her story is in my book. On that was, again, she felt like, she'd been given a booster shot of love and joy because she didn't have to grapple with why me, I'm the victim, and she had to grow out of that and see bigger pictures. And I believe our souls do come in and contract for certain experiences that give us opportunities to evolve. Relationships, in my opinion, and in my experience, show up as our biggest teachers, whatever that relationship is.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, definitely. Yeah, you're absolutely right there. It does. I was going to ask you is, since obviously uh, the COVID-19 happened, the situation happened, what have you seen regarding the situation, regarding the relationships and stuff? Has it gone worse since the COVID-19 situation? And have you had any clients who have come to you and said, the situation has affected their relationships? Does that happen?
Oh, yeah, it's big time. And this is
Yeah,
one reason why I really appreciate your having me on today as your guest, because again, how do people know how to get in touch with someone, or even that someone like me even exists with my skill set?
yeah, sure.
So getting the word
Mm.
out is the best way. But and over Christmas, I felt like, I've said it before, like one of Santa's elves, because I was writing so many letters for people that were having these horrific experiences, so depleting family or family member, they were in disagreement over some social issue, medical situation, whatever. And so I don't have to tell you, we all could acknowledge that there's been a tremendous division going on the planet, throughout the planet.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so to thine own heart be true. When we can develop the kind of relationship with ourself first, in other words, would you want someone like you to be your BFF, your best friend forever? Then you show up with those characters and traits
Mm.
and see. Also, I want to say that not all of us grew up in these cushy, comfy, nurturing families to begin with. Those that have, how beautiful. But a lot of people
Hmm.
had issues growing up. And perhaps some of those souls, again, those people chose that. My own childhood was not ideal. I left home as a teenager. And I have a whole story I'm writing on that. But I found my universal family by moving out and meeting new people. So again, it's, if you're around toxic people, even if it's family members, we have to look at, you make the gesture. When I write a letter, sometimes, not often, but sometimes I'll have a client say, and I never give anyone their goal, by the way. I don't try to persuade or dissuade you with what your end goal is, because this is a growth process. So in other words, I've had some people that will want me to write a letter to someone to try to heal something, or that they want to perhaps bring in more love from that individual, or whatever it is. And they read the letter and they go, oh my gosh, I don't need to send this. What? Yeah. I mean, I'm like,
Mhm.
I had one woman, I'll just give you an example. She went to her high school reunion, 30-year high
Yeah.
school boyfriend from high school. And she said, wow. And she was divorced. Turns out so was he. They even had kids around the same age. And she said, wow, he still looks really handsome. And we just had a great connection, and they started dating.
Yeah.
And he had not too much before all of this, not long before this, had broken up with another relationship. She wasn't quite sure that he was totally done with that previous relationship, because she thought maybe he was still receiving phone calls and such. So she said, you know what, at this stage, I have nothing on anything. I want what I know I want. I want more love. I think he's wonderful. I want to share my heart. Okay,
Yeah.
so we did. She read the letter, and she said, I burst into tears after reading it, and I realized he's not good enough for me. Raju,
Right.
6 months later, she got married, and that was like 5 years ago, and she's extremely
Wow.
happy. Someone new. So sometimes it's like you got to let go and shed what isn't working, what's not in our flow. And
Exactly. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
but you're right.
absolutely. Yeah.
I just wanted to just say further, yes, there has been a quiet planet, as I just mentioned previously, and it's an ideal time to put your best foot forward, make that gesture in kindness and care. And even if it doesn't work out, the other person isn't ready, for example, or what have you, you can sleep at night. How would that be? You don't have to toss and turn and worry about why regrets, or why did I say that, or why don't I say this, or, well, you've done a beautiful gesture, and letters are kept. They're not tossed away usually. I mean, through COVID, I've discovered letters from family, even a brother that had passed away many years ago that wrote me a letter when I was in Europe on my own, 19 years old. And
Yeah.
and I read the letter, and it was like he was alive again. His sense of humor, his support and encouragement, all there. So if we're writing a letter to somebody, it can be what I call a legacy letter. You don't even have to have an issue with somebody. You could write a letter just honoring the path that you've shared with that person, or what you've come to realize is so beautiful,
Yeah.
and what you cherish. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, there are some people which just need maybe that sense of direction, that advice, and which you provide to them. And so, where do people get the advice from with yourself? Is it in person? Is it over the phone?
It's generally, because I work with people all over the world.
Yeah.
So it's generally on the phone or a Zoom call.
Right.
And yeah. And so my website, you can see, is myname.com, or the letters, this letter writing service, I call it Inspired Heart Letters. And so inspiredheartletters.com is the other URL or website. And when you sign on to my website, you can download a complimentary little ebook that gives some step-by-step guidance for composing your own letter that can be much more compelling. Can also serve to be an exercise to kind of look at what's real and what's in your head, or what, your attitude, or what could be possible. And also, you see my book here is in Audible, as well as hardcover or paperback. And you can, the Audible, I'm not sure, I'm in the middle of changing websites, so I'm not sure we put the Audible link. If not, you can get it on Amazon, or go to Audible.
Yeah.
And the thing about that, and I don't want to digress from our conversation, but as you mentioned earlier, I'm also a singer, songwriter, composer, and because I'm a word person. And so I have my album, which is called Love Letters, by my performer's name, Tina Rose, with my name being spelt with a K. I don't know why my parents did that. I always have to explain. Remember, it's Christina with a K, but my middle name is Rose. And many of my friends from Latin America for like several years have always called me Tina. So Tina Rose is my performer's name, and I'm on all the platforms. You can get a free download of one of my songs, and then it'll show you, the site will also show you all the platforms like Spotify, Pandora, iTunes, Apple Music, la, la, la. And that's if you go to www.tinarosemusic.com. I'd also like to offer, it's kind of, in the sense of this is Valentine's season. And I do want to encourage and inspire people on the planet to invite more love and compassion and compatibility into their life. I'm willing to give a consult, so we can, you can get like a little complimentary coaching from me for maybe how to look at your particular situation, your challenge, and I'm willing to help you to find some solutions for that, perhaps give you some new thoughts or perspectives. So that you would also go onto my website and go to my calendar and book a call with me. Okay, so I don't know how much longer I'll be able to offer that because I get pretty busy at times, but I want to do what I can do to really help women, to help everyone, and really share that. The other thing, even though I know that your audience are empowered women, I must say that my letter writing has also been very well received by men. So, and that's kind of a little different. A lot of self-help draws females more than men, but I like to give the female perspective to men as well. And so it's very successful with them. So, and one other area for all the mothers that are out there, I also created a program for children, and I'm going to change my background just a sec so you can see it. It is, okay, let's see, where is it? Okay. There we go.
Yeah.
So it's my Be Friendship Focused guide, and it's for any parent, teacher, clergy, any mentor at all, any after school program. I literally traveled around the United States for 2 years, giving presentations on how to empower children, to help them build social skills, to help them end the onslaught of needless bullying, which is a power struggle, and to really gain that sense of self-empowerment through good communication and such. It started when my own daughter was terribly bullied by mean girls in middle school. And because because I worked with students of all ages, in particular, emotionally challenged students. And with COVID, a lot of them, have been very depressed. We know the suicide rate is way up.
Yeah.
So I created this, and it has all of it's an 8 to 10 week process ideally for small groups of children, same age kids, can be boys and girls, whatever, between the ages of 8 and 12. All of the lessons written in a way that is geared towards children at that level. And kids are developmentally very egocentric, and that's normal. They should be. But at the same time, it's like their identity around friendships and belonging, etc., can be very difficult for a lot of kids with what's going on socially, I just needed to share that on your show, Raju,
Yeah,
because it's
sure.
important. They're our next generation, and we need to kind of pave the way and soothe the wounds of everything. It's scary for some kids today, and I couldn't even imagine wearing masks and such in school. I just couldn't. I can't get
Yeah,
behind it at all. So, and hopefully that will be, we're at the end of the road with that. Let us pray. But my daughter and I also created the A to Z power cards. So with our paintings, we took a whole week, and it was it was very healing for her to do this. She was only 12 at the time, and we painted 26 paintings, and we with one painting for each letter of the alphabet, and we put a saying, an inspirational thought, so it's a conversation opener. So I don't know if you can see this. I'm putting it right near my face.
yes, absolutely.
Okay, so this is her little painting of a mermaid and a turtle, and the word is M, magnificent, and then the back says brilliant, glorious, proud, extraordinary, the original you. And you can start it. Well, what does that mean? What does that mean? And so it starts a conversation, because children can feel intimidated, and this brings up ways for them to be more expressive and to
Yeah,
really kind of dial it into where they're at. So there's that as well. I just wanted to, and that can be purchased. I believe it's shown on my site. Again, I am in the midst of changing hosting programs, but if not, it's definitely on Amazon as well. And that's Be Friendship Focused. So, and it has,
absolutely.
what we did was we put the card deck inside the book, and it's an 8.5 by 11 hardbound or paperback book. So any mentor can just easily, somebody wants to lead a group, it's just super easy to do, and the kids love it. I had one little girl in one of my groups, and she was the meanest girl at school. Okay, she was
Wow.
the bully of the bullies, and at the last day of our class, I think we did, an art project, and I had treats for the kids and whatever. And she starts to cry, and she goes, "Mrs. Grant, I can't leave the BFF group. I belong here. I need to be here." And I looked at her, and I said, "You're not going anywhere. You're going to be my assistant mentor for the next group." Her story, her backstory, which she revealed in the group, was that when she was an infant, her mother abandoned her, and she was being raised by extended family members her whole life. So by the time she was
Right.
8 years old, she felt like she was a burden. And she took that anxiety that was inside of her and projected it outside, and made sure there was a nice emotional wall around her so nobody could get in. Well, she was able to drop that.
Yeah,
That can happen to children.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, even before, I remember the schools, even though a lot of people will say, and maybe the head teachers, they'll say, okay, there's no such, we don't, there's we don't tolerate bullying. There's no bullying in our schools and stuff. But the picture is something else. It does exist in every school, and that's a fact.
Right.
But the only difference is in some schools maybe there's more bullying, and in some schools maybe a bit less. But obviously, I've seen even when myself, and that was years ago. At that time, it was there was loads of bullying, boys and girls, and our school was saying there's no such thing as bullying. So it's something which schools say because they want to show their image in the right way, so more people come to the school and stuff. But it doesn't help. It's good in that way, but obviously they need to resolve the issue, which is bullying, I think, and which unfortunately doesn't get resolved. That leaves
Yeah.
and some childhoods are just not the same again. Like you said, they're not the same again until so many years after, where they get someone who can help them, and then they can get that out. Um, and I think, and you probably can say this, that we take people on face value more than anything else. And we assume something without knowing the person. I'd say, okay, this person is a terrible person. And if we don't know, or we see him once, they're terrible. That's what we'll say straight away.
Mhm.
Without knowing the whole picture, we just, we think we know it all, which is a problem. I don't think we should jump the gun, basically, uh, because, like you said, everyone has, it could be something else, and they could have a background, they could be suffering from something, there could be loads of things, to be honest.
Be like,
Yeah,
what would our world be like if we were more compassionate towards one another?
exactly.
These kids, what role models do they see? The world doesn't always seem so safe these days. It's been kind of alarming, and there's sadness, and people going through a lot of struggles in many areas, financially, or their job, or they can't
Oh yeah,
travel, whatever. And so children are very sensitive. So what's going on in the home, they pick up on. Even if
absolutely.
they don't understand it, they kind of pick up on the energy at home, and they know whether they can really express themselves or not. So it's our responsibility to really care for our kids, because as you just said, the scars that occur, the wounds that occur as a child often develop into lifelong scars.
Yeah.
And then it gets to the point, well, you shirk it off, and well, that's life. But realm, it can really be detrimental. So I think it's I really love children. I'll tell you one story. I had I'm no longer working as a school psychologist. I completely stopped that. I think it was about a year and a half ago. So one of my last clients was a teenage boy. He was about 15, and he had severe depression. He had been suicidal in the past. He lived in a neighborhood that was not wealthy. In fact, there were gangs and a lot of crime. And I believe he was living in an apartment complex. And so one day we had our session, and this is during COVID. So it had to be, online or on a phone call. Actually, they wouldn't even allow Zoom calls. So it was a phone call. And I said, here's your homework assignment. I want you to do a random act of kindness for someone else. And I don't care if it's just because everyone was pretty much in lockdown. I said, and I don't care if it is just a genuine compliment to one of your parents. And it can't be, you're cool, I like your shirt. It has to be something that's much deeper and real, and something that you are, that you absolutely admire, know, and are so happy about. Or just do something for someone, something outside of you. So the next week I get on the
Yeah.
phone, and he said, you are going to be so happy. And I said, oh, I really want to be happy. What, tell me what? And he said, that lives nearby. And he's about 7 years old. And his parents were fighting so much that the police came and took his father away in handcuffs. And the
Yeah.
little boy, who used to seem pretty happy, is so sad, and he is not the same person. And he goes, I think he has major depression. This is this 15-year-old telling me that, giving him the, um, giving him his what he thought was going on. At any rate, I said, so what's going to make me happy? happy. He wanted to be a baseball player when he grows up, a famous baseball player. So I went to a kid's store and I got him a baseball bat and a mitt, and the little baseballs. And my mom had a fancy balloon and we wrapped it up. And I went over to his front door and I put it in front of the door of his house or his apartment. And I rang the doorbell and I ran away. And I said, what? I said, you didn't want to give it to me. He says, no, I just left it there. I said, so how do you feel? He said, I haven't felt this good in a long, long time. So do you see, when we get out of our own meanderings about what's wrong with my life, I'm not enough, I'm not lovable, whatever the case may be, and we reach out beyond that, open the veil, reach out and do something surely out of kindness. That's the human heart that we want to develop. That's the society that we want to bring more life to. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And we will include your where the direct links for the book and for your Tina Rose website. We will include the links for them, so everyone can access your links and they can get in touch with yourself. Are you available on social media?
I am, yes. I'm on Facebook and I believe Twitter and Instagram and what else is out there? So yeah.
Is it under Kristine or is it under Tina?
It's on the Kristine, yeah. And I think I think it's Instagram has both names. There's an underscore and then Tina Rose. By the way, did you have an opportunity to listen to my songs at all?
Absolutely. I'll listen to it on your website, the sample, and yeah, absolutely. So it's really good. And
Yeah,
so I was listening to it earlier today. So
the options are fantastic.
yeah.
The last song, all of the songs came, okay, this is how I started writing songs. And again, my message to the audience is find something when you were a kid that just made your heart flutter, that got you excited, that you loved to do, whether it was art or whether it was building Legos, I don't care, but something that really made you feel really good, and take that and bring it back into your life somehow. Build something, create something, do something that really makes you smile. And so for me, when I was speaking around the country on the Be Friendship Focused program, the books and everything, I thought, on the scary meter, what's scarier than getting in front of a whole audience of hundreds of people and speaking? Could it be bungee cord jumping or skydiving came to mind. And then I thought, well, what about singing in front of people? That would really be scary.
Yeah.
And so I went home and I started taking a group singing course. And I was hooked. It was like therapy. The instructor chose a song for each one of us in the group to learn. And then we had to practice it and go on stage, at the local comedy club or restaurants or theaters and sing. And it was very empowering for me. I loved that experience. And then, as it were, I was asked to sing with a local R&B rhythm and blues band. And the band leader had a relative, a little girl in Nashville, Tennessee, who was 6 years old, and she had a serious illness. And one morning I woke up thinking about this little girl I never met, and her name was Patience. And I had an intuition that she was going to transition, which she actually did. And I thought to myself, what parent names their child Patience and goes through this ordeal? So I started writing a poem, which is what I also do for people. And at any rate, in the middle of the poem, this song comes through that had nothing to do with this little girl. And I wrote the song down in 10 minutes, and I called the band leader, and he went, oh my gosh, we got to put that to music, which we did. And then that gave me permission, and I started having these downloads of songs, and they were all based on relationships. So that, and the last song in the album is called Love Letter. That's the only song that I ever wrote with any focus of intentionality, because I wanted to share just how special letters are, the frequency of the words, and the fact that it's a gift, and it's something that is not just heard, but you can absorb it, reread it, all of that. So anyway, I met this woman, Lynn Rose, in Las Vegas, who's a singer-songwriter. She's got a beautiful voice. And we were talking, and she asked me to share some of my lyrics. And she introduced me to these amazing musicians who were the front band for Coldplay, Bon Jovi, Rod Stewart, Pink, Journey. And they loved my lyrics. And then they recorded my voice and said, no one's to sing but you. We love your voice. You're like a female Elvis, is how they put it. And so we went from there, and it was so much fun. So during the COVID, you know, the heavy duty part of the COVID lockdown, when it all first started, and we were kind of in taken back or a little bit startled by it, I was off creating music. And so I encourage anyone, no matter where you are in life, to take some time to really get back to what rings your bell, what, you know, you feel good about. And it's not about making money with it or anything else. It's just about enjoyment, and do that for yourself. It's part of your own nurturing. It'll be very, very healthy. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I wish we could continue with this, but I've been guilty when I started this channel to make the interviews a bit too long, but they were interesting, so they kept on going on and on, which was good. But I don't know.
Maybe you can cut it into 2 interviews then.
Exactly. Absolutely, because I do have an idea of, obviously, when, like you said, when you're working on your next book to hopefully bring you back on here and definitely talk about your next work, which I'm sure would be a really, really exciting work, which a lot of people would love to read. So definitely, so that's what I was thinking of doing as well. Yeah, absolutely. So regarding that, can the viewers who need to get in touch with you regarding the relationship advice or booking for a consultation, do they need to go onto the website?
They do. They can go on the website and book a call if they're interested in getting that it's a small ebook, so it's just really a guide for writing your own letters. And in the book itself, this book, Relationship, which is a big book. I mean, if you're getting the Audible version, it's a 14-hour listen to. Okay, so it's not a quick book. It's got a lot of beautiful stories and guidance for how to up-level your own communication skills in a beautiful way. At any rate, so they can do that. And if they go to my calendar at this point, just book a consult on my calendar. I think it says 30 minutes, so we don't have to take 30 minutes if you don't wish to, but that is my offering, 20, 30 minutes. I'm very quick at giving feedback. So, and I love to help people, raise their happiness quotient and bring more love in.
Yeah.
That's where we are, as humanity. We are divine beings, and I want to honor that with everyone. So no matter what the issue is going on with you, whether it's with, with marriage or partnership, romance, you're a single looking for love. I also help people create online dating profiles that really are effective and compelling,
Yeah.
as well as for certain people that maybe want to learn how to do some fun texting. I call it texting or teasing, the allure of text messages for attracting love. And also, like I say, if you've got an issue with your divorce or separation, you'd like to be better co-parents or get out of the power struggle, I can help with that. I've even helped people in business because we have relationships in business as well. Competition, jealousy, resentments, all those things can come up within your business as well. Also, the estrangement is a big, popular letter request from me because that can be overwhelming. One dad had not spoken to his daughter in 30 years. The letter that I wrote on his behalf, again, I tap into his higher heart, and the person that asked me to help them with their letter, they get to hear it before I send it to them in Word. So it's your property once you receive it. You can do with it what you choose. But anyway, his letter that was sent, his daughter wrote back such a touching letter that I cried reading it, and she came back to be in his life. So yeah, it's really
Absolutely.
beautiful.
Absolutely. And
Well, I know
if anybody is thinking to get in touch later on, not to worry. I will put the links on the description on the YouTube video. The links will be all there for Kristine. The links will be there. And if you want to check her music out, the Tina Rose, the link will be there as well on there. And if you want people to know about your social media, obviously you can then let me know. I'll share that as well on the description. So we will do that, Kristine. First of all, thank you very much for coming on the Woman Agenda channel. It has been a pleasure. And I think it's been very useful for everyone to know about this, because this is something which is not minor, it's major in every community, in every country. It's not one specific country, it's everywhere. People need advice, and it's part of everyday thing. So a lot of people will find this useful. And like I said, the links will be on the description. You will be able to get in touch with Kristine and ask her for any assistance which is required. Kristine, thank you very much again, Kristine, for coming on board. And
it was my pleasure. It was really a joy to meet you, Raju. And I'd like to have a little conversation after the recording with you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So on that, and I will, like I said, guys, I will be posting the links as well, some information on the social media channels, on the Facebook and the Twitter handle as well. And obviously, thank you very much, guys, for watching this, and I will be back soon.